Hey, what's up, everyone? James here. So today we're diving into something that I think a lot of you are going to find super helpful. We're going to be talking about the best audio editing software. Now, I know with so many options to choose from, it can get a little overwhelming, right? You've got your free programs that are kind of, great for beginners, and then those high-end ones that feel like you need to be a pro just to open them up. So I've been messing around with a bunch of these some you've definitely heard of, and others that are not so mainstream, but don't worry. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to up your audio game, I've got something for you. And hey, before we jump in, just a quick reminder, I'll be dropping links to all the products we talk about today down in the description below. So if something catches your ear, you know where to find it. All right, let's crank up the volume and get into it. All right, so when we're talking about the best audio editing software out there, we really can't just skip over Adobe Audition. It's like widely used in the industry and for a bunch of good reasons, to be honest. First things first, the interface of Audition can be a bit, intimidating for beginners.
Yeah.
But once you get the hang of it, it's just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a ton of tools and effects that are like super precise. You can edit, mix, master, and restore audio content. And that's just scratching the surface, right? It's like having a professional audio studio at your fingertips, which is pretty awesome. And another thing I really like is the noise reduction capabilities. Man, they are top notch. If you've got wind or maybe some weird humming in the background of your recordings, Audition can pretty much clean that up for you. Sometimes it's like magic, just fiddle with the settings and poof, the noise is gone. You will have to play around with it a bit to avoid that underwater sound. But once you get it, it's a game changer. Now, on the downside, Adobe Audition isn't exactly cheap. It's part of Adobe's Creative Cloud subscription, so you have to, keep paying monthly or annually, which, can add up. But if you're serious about audio editing, it's an investment that will probably pay off in terms of the quality and the control you get over your sound. So all in all, it's definitely up there with the best audio editing software for sure. All right, so let's dive right into Audacity, which is, a really popular audio editing software that's been around for quite some time. And it's pretty renowned for its ease of use. And of course, the fact that it's totally free, which is a huge plus, especially if you're just starting out or you're on a tight budget. The interface might look a bit outdated to some, but don't, let that fool you because it's incredibly powerful. You've got a whole bunch of tools at your disposal for editing tracks, and it supports various audio formats, which is really handy. Now, one of the things I personally like about Audacity is the amount of control it gives you over your audio. Like you can really get into the nitty gritty with precise selection tools, cut, copy, paste functionality, and of course the ability to undo and redo, which trust me, comes in handy. It's kind of like that safety net when you're experimenting with your tracks. And in terms of effects, there's a pretty decent range. You can normalize audio, equalize it, add reverb, and a lot more. Plus, the software is open source. So there's a ton of plugins created by the community that you can add to enhance your experience, which is pretty awesome. So, but I've got to mention, there can be like a slight learning curve if you're new to audio editing. However, there's loads of tutorials out there, and once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature, really. One downside I need to point out, though, is that the software doesn't have the most intuitive multi-track editing. Like, it's definitely possible, but it's not as seamless as some other paid options out there. But honestly, when you weigh the pros and the cons, Audacity is a fantastic choice for beginners and even for more experienced users who need a reliable, feature-rich tool without breaking the bank. All right, let's dive right into Avid Pro Tools, which I've been using for a while now. And guys, I have to say it's pretty impressive, especially if you're, really serious about your audio production. First off, the interface, it can be a bit daunting because, there's a ton of features packed in there. But once you get the hang of it, man, it's like everything you need is right at your fingertips. You've got these really intuitive editing tools. And what I love is the mixing workflow. It feels so professional. And yeah, it's the same stuff that pros use in the industry. Now, in terms of capabilities, Pro Tools it's a powerhouse, guys. It can handle heaps of audio tracks, and it's got all these plugins, right? And these are like super high quality plugins for EQ, reverb, dynamics, processing, all that stuff. Plus, it's got this Avid Cloud collaboration thing, which is pretty neat if you're working with like other artists or producers remotely. You just share your sessions right there in the cloud. It's pretty convenient. But I got to be honest, there's a bit of a learning curve Especially if you're new to audio editing, it's not exactly what I call beginner friendly. And the pricing model, it's subscription based, which can be a turnoff for some people. But if you're serious about getting the best tools for audio work, it's probably worth it. So to wrap this up, Pro Tools, it's not for everyone because of its complexity and price tag. But man, if you're aiming for professional grade audio, it's hard to beat. There's definitely a reason it's so revered in the audio community. If you commit to learning it, Pro Tools can be like incredibly rewarding. And yeah, it's going to up the quality of your productions like big time. All right, so let's jump into Logic Pro X. So first off, I got to say, Apple really knows what they're doing when it comes to audio editing. Logic Pro X, it's kind of like the big brother to GarageBand, if you will. It's packed with features that are, really designed for professionals. But what's cool is it's still pretty accessible to beginners. So like there's this intuitive interface, and then it's got drag and drop functionality, which is super handy when you're in the flow and just don't want to deal with the, complications of menu diving. Now, one of the things I love about Logic Pro X is the massive library of sounds and loops. We're talking everything from classic instruments to modern synths and, even some world instruments. So whether you're scoring a film or mixing your next track, there's just like a ton to play with like here. And the loops are smart. They automatically match the tempo and the key of your project, which, saves a huge amount of time. And the plugins, oh man, the plugins, they are top notch. The virtual drummer is a standout feature for me. It's like having a session drummer right inside your computer who, kind of magically plays along with your song style. The mixer is also like really sophisticated. It almost mimics a real console with all the bells and whistles, for fine tuning your audio. You've also got this feature called Space Designer, which is this convolution reverb plugin that really can bring your mix to life, giving it that three-dimensional quality. So, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? Logic Pro X, it's definitely on the pricier side, and it's only available to Mac users, which can be a bummer for Windows folks. And, because it's so feature-rich, there can be a steep learning curve if you're not already familiar with DAW-less digital audio workstations. But honestly, once you get the hang of it, it's super powerful. So, overall, if you're serious about audio production and you're in the Apple ecosystem, Logic Pro X could be a fantastic choice for you. So let's talk about FL Studio, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, one of those go-to software for audio editing that's been around for ages. A lot of people might know it as Fruity Loops from way back in the day, but it's really evolved since then. So the interface is pretty sleek, if you ask me. It look a bit daunting at first with all these buttons and knobs, right? But once you get the hang of it, it's like super powerful. You can compose, you can arrange record, edit, mix, and master all in this one package, which is kind of nuts when you think about it. And what's really cool about FL Studio is that it's got this really rich library of plugins and instruments. Like you've got everything from synths to all sorts of effects. Whether you're into electronic music or you dabble in other genres, there's just so much, room for experimentation. And the way you can manipulate samples and loops is just super intuitive. And I don't know, it makes creativity kind of flow naturally, So I've got to point out, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? If you're new to audio editing, there's definitely a learning curve here. It can be a bit overwhelming, but hey, the good news is there's like a ton of tutorials out there. The community is super helpful, and the software comes with like a lot of helpful pointers and stuff. So patience really pays off with this one. In terms of pricing, FL Studio isn't, the cheapest option out there. But the cool thing is you buy it once and then you get free updates for life, which is pretty rare in the software world these days. And that's like really valuable because this field changes all the time, right? So overall, I'd say if you're serious about your audio production, FL Studio is definitely worth considering. It's got depth, it's got flexibility, and it's a solid choice for pros and enthusiasts alike. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up our deep dive into some of the best audio editing software out there. I really hope you found this roundup helpful, whether you're a beginner just looking to get started or you're a seasoned pro searching for some new tools to add to your audio arsenal. If any of the software we talked about today caught your ear, remember, you can find all the links to the products down in the description. Just, scroll down, give it a click, and you can get all the details you need. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's like just down there, I think. And smash that notification bell gently, though. We don't want any broken screens or anything. We've got a ton of cool content coming out, and I'd hate for you to miss any of it. Oh, and if you have any questions, or if there's something specific you're wondering about in the world of audio editing, drop a comment below. I love getting into all that nerdy detail with you guys, so don't be shy. I try to read through all those comments. Lastly, don't forget to check out my other videos. I've got tutorials, reviews, tips and tricks, a whole bunch of stuff that can really help you out. Okay, I think that's everything. Thanks for hanging out with me today. See you in the next video. And yeah, happy editing, everyone.